Jalen Brunson has been so good this season. I just wanted to get into it real quick. The only players shooting 60% from 2-point range or higher that are under 6'4" that are playing like meaningful minutes, so it's not just like a guy that went out there and took like 5 shots, is Jalen Brunson. He's the only player under 6'4" to hit 60% of his 2-point shots. There's only 4 credible players shooting 60% from 2, 40% from 3, and 80% from the free throw line. You want to take a stab at who these 4 players are? Just wild. Think about wild role players, pretty good, all really good shooters, obviously.
Oh, there's no way I would know these.
Duncan Robinson, obviously.
Okay.
He doesn't take a lot of 2s, right? Him and Brunson are kind of flipped in that. Mikal Bridges, your guy.
Let's go.
And then Joe Ingles is the other guy. So Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Joe Ingles, Duncan Robinson, the only players in the NBA to shoot 60% or higher from 2-point range, 40% or higher from 3-point range, and 80% or higher from the free throw line. Absolutely wild, those guys. And so my question now is, what is Jalen Brunson? I put some numbers up on my Twitter account today, at Nick Van Exit. You can also follow at Locked On Mavs, at Isaac Harris on Twitter. But I put some numbers up comparing Jalen Brunson's first 3 years to the first 3 years of Kyle Lowry's career, and then the next 3 years, which are basically when, his 22-year-old season, his 23-year-old season, his 24-year-old season, which is how old Brunson is right now. And the numbers are really close. Brunson's been a better shooter than Lowry was, but Lowry was a little bit better of a passer, it seems. And so now it's like, can he take that kind of leap? Because somebody, a couple people in my mentions last night were like, I'm making a bold prediction. Brunson's going to be an all-star. If he's ever going to do that, he'd have to take a leap like Lowry, which is what Lowry had to do was go to a different team, find a different role, step up, get a big, push in minutes. He went from 25 minutes a game to 36 minutes a game, basically. And then, he took over that Toronto team, and he ended up being an all-star 6 years in a row. Basically found his spot. But yeah, can Jalen Brunson take a leap like that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. With Brunson, what I've tried to do over his career, over these 3 seasons basically, is I just don't want to set an expectation for him. I don't want to, try to. He's a 2nd-round pick. I don't want to sit here and say, all right, he can be Lowry 2.0. And if he's not Lowry 2.0, then we're kind of disappointed when it's all right, well, he was a 2nd-round pick. So I've just kind of approached Jalen Brunson's career development as, man, if he can be a solid rotational player and solid piece of the team moving forward, then that's a win because that just doesn't happen very often for a 2nd-round pick. And I think he's proving that. And he's proving it even more. I mean, we've said so many times, he's not a starter. He's, your 6th man. He's the perfect backup point guard. But then you watch him at the end of these games. You watch him with Luka Doncic. You watch him over these past 15 games. His past 15 games, the Mavericks have went 10-5 in those games. He shot 55% from the field, 40% from 3 in those games. He's averaging almost 14 points a game, +8 net rating when he's in the game. But the biggest thing is ending these games in the 4th quarter. Him and Luka Doncic together. It's we know they have this chemistry off the court. They love each other. They're best friends. Or I shouldn't say they're best friends. They're really good friends. And I don't know how great of friends they are. They are really good friends, though.
They're good frenemies, right? They go back and forth at each other. They make each other wear jerseys. They do that kind of stuff. They poke fun. Yes. That kind of thing.
But you look at their minutes together. They finish a lot of these 4th quarters together. And that's when you see, we've talked about even his rookie season when Luka played with JJ Barea some, and we're ooh, okay, that's what a secondary creator looks like. Now it's Brunson. And it's when they have both of those guys on the floor at the end of the games, now we've seen Brunson kind of replace J-Rich in a sense to end some of these games. But Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic on the floor together for 501 minutes together this season. They're at a +8 net rating together, offensive rating at 118, defensive rating at 109. When they're both off the floor, it's a -8 net rating. Yes, -8 net rating. And that pairing has worked well at the end of game. I think the end of the game is what means the most to me. That it's all about who finishes the game, and it's not about who starts the game. But them finishing the game together and them being as efficient they are together, then that has been a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. He's averaging about 5.5 minutes in third quarter. So he's averaging 6.5 minutes per quarter in the first and second quarter, about 5.5 minutes in third quarters, and then 7.5 minutes in fourth quarters, right? Like he's getting most of his run in fourth quarters, and that's been the crucial thing. We talked about it against, when the Mavs beat the Jazz, that he's been kind of the big fix. And so, yeah, great stuff from Jalen Brunson. What's his ceiling? I don't know. Could he be on a Lowry track? His numbers kind of indicate that he could be. If he gets a big role increase at some point, maybe he could get to the point of being a Kyle Lowry. There's definitely
defensively is the key for the Lowry thing. Lowry's a good defender, and that's the thing for Brunson is, can he withstand defensively some of these best guards in the league for him to reach that level? And that's. Like offensively, I'm not as worried about him because he can run an offense. He can score the basketball. I'm not worried about any of that. It's defensively. Can he establish himself and be an above average defender against opposing point guards? That's the next level for his game.